Payman.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Assistant Treasurer and Minister for Financial Services, Senator Gallagher. Last year, the then Minister released a consultation paper relating to unfair trading practices and committed to banning subscription traps, dynamic pricing and drip pricing. These reforms would provide an immediate benefit to Australians who find themselves trapped paying for subscription services that seem impossible to cancel. Submissions for the consultation closed in December. Minister, since then, what work has been done by the government in this area?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Gallagher.
Thank you very much, President, and I thank Senator Payman for the question and for the heads up that she was wanting to ask a question on this. I heard her 2-minute statement, incidentally, as well, which covered off on this matter, and as was outlined in the question, this is an issue that the government has done quite a bit of work on. In fact, consultation started some time ago, last year, on a number of these areas. Late last year, consultation finishing in December 2024. On the, this is an area that the Prime Minister has been very clear about, as has the Treasurer and the Assistant Minister to the Treasurer, who's been leading this work in the other place, Mr. Lee, Dr. Lee, I should say. 59 submissions were received, including 6 confidential submissions. Treasury has since then held a number of bilateral meetings and roundtables with stakeholders, including consumer advocates, industry groups and academics. In total, 138 written submissions have been received over the 2 rounds of consultation. This is an area where we have to work with the state and territory consumer affairs ministers. The government has considered the feedback provided and will focus on unfair trading practices reforms to address a range of manipulative practices, including unfair subscription practices, including subscription traps that make cancelling a subscription difficult, drip pricing practices where fees are hidden or added through the stages of a purchase, the use of dark patterns which manipulate or undermine consumer decision-making in digital interfaces. Treasury is now completing the regulatory impact analysis to inform decision-making on unfair trading practice reform and engaging with states and territories to settle a final reform proposal. We do have to have agreement with states and territories.
Senator Payman, first supplementary.
Thank you, President. I've been speaking to stakeholders as well, and they've raised with me further reforms such as requiring e-commerce websites to allow customers to check out as guests rather than forcing them to register an account with them, and compelling subscription services to send timely renewal reminders before charging customers, particularly when free trials of services end and become paid subscriptions. Will the government implement these reforms, Minister?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Gallagher.
Thank you, and I thank Senator Payman for the supplementary. And some months ago, so last year, work started on a whole range of unfair trading practices and were considered by the consultation paper. I'm not sure if Senator Payman has seen that, but that covered subscriptions, as I mentioned. It covered mandating the fact that mandating consumers have an online account and requiring them to provide unnecessary personal information in order to make a purchase, make it difficult to access customer support to raise a complaint or problem, subscription cancellation, so a range of areas. These are all areas the government has done work on, and if the stakeholders are raising this with Senator Payman, I have no doubt they've raised it through the government's process, which occurred several months ago. As I said, these areas are being pursued now through a regulatory impact analysis and with work with the states and territories, where we do have an intergovernmental agreement for Australian consumer law.
The time for answering has expired. Senator Payman, second supplementary.
Thank you, President. Research by ING found that 32% of Australians who pay for subscriptions that they don't use say they forgot to cancel a free trial, while 23% forgot that they were subscribed at all. This is an issue that is affecting thousands of Australians across the country. When will the government legislate a ban on subscription traps and other unfair trading practices?
Thank you, Senator Payman. Minister Gallagher.
Thank you. Well, we certainly welcome Senator Payman's support for the reforms that we've started investigating last year and have held 2 consultation rounds on, and are developing the regulatory impact analysis now in order to go forward with the agreement of the states and territories. This is a priority. It's been led by the government. It's been led by the ministers that identified a problem. The problems like the subscriptions, like not being able to cancel, or like providing too much information in order to access a purchase. All of those areas are problems that have been identified by this government and will be addressed by this government in cooperation with state and territory governments, as is required under Australian consumer law.
Thank you, Minister Gallagher. Senator Marielle Smith.